Hello students, this is Komila Mirani, PGT English from KV number 3 Sagar. I welcome you to this online class session which has been initiated by KVS RO Jabalpur. Today we shall begin with the first chapter of class 12 supplementary reader Vistas. The name of the chapter is The Third Level by Jack Finney. Walter Braddon Jack Finney, who's the writer of this lesson, he was an American writer who was known for his contributions to the science fiction genre. His most popular novels are The Body Snatchers, which was written in 1955, Time and Again, that he penned in 1970. Throughout his career, he published nearly 50 novels, which mostly themed thriller and comedy genres. Now we come to the lesson, the third level. Now what's the theme of this lesson? The Third Level by Jack Finney, it's about the harsh realities of war. Students, if you remember, in class 11, chapter number 2 was the address. It was also about war and its far-reaching consequences. This is also in some way related to the same theme. It's about the harsh realities of war, how it affects the mentalities of people. War always has irreversible consequences and it leaves people in a state of insecurity. This chapter is also about modern day problems, how common people who are worried and stressed out by harsh realities of present, they want to escape the reality by various means. In this story, the protagonist or the main character, he is Charlie, who hallucinates and he imagines, rather reaches the third level of the New York Grand Central Station, which actually has only 2 levels. Now again we come to the central character, Charlie. He describes himself in the beginning of the chapter. He says that he is a 31-year-old man and he is describing an experience which he describes as weird. One day when he was returning from work in the evening, he was in a hurry to reach home. He decided to take the subway. And when he took the subway, he reached the third level of the Grand Central Railway Station of New York, as I already told you just now, which actually or in reality doesn't exist. Now in this story, he reminisces the entire experience and he actually shares it with his psychiatrist friend Sam. Who's a psychiatrist? A person who is specialized in dealing with mental problems. Now Charlie thought that he had experienced time travel and he had reached somewhere in the 1890s, a time before the world wars, well before the First World War as well as the Second World War. He reaches the time of 1890s, actually 1894. Now this is a view of the Grand Central Railway Station. When we begin with the story, there is a mention of the third level at the Grand Central Railway Station. Actually it has only 2 levels. The protagonist, Charlie, himself is aware that even the presidents of the New York Central and the New York New Haven and Hartford railroads, they would bet, they would swear on a stack of timetables. Now what do you mean by swear on a stack of timetables? All of us have seen the scenes of court in movies, in television serials. Whenever a person is called to the witness box, he is asked to swear. Swear on something in which he has faith. Swear on the name of something in which we all believe. For example, swear in the name of Bible, swear in the name of Gita. Now the president of the New York Central and the New York New Haven and Hartford Railroads, for them the stack of timetable, a pile of timetables, that is on which they'll swear. Why? Because that's a reality. Whatever exists in those rail books, that is a reality. Other than that, nothing else can exist. So he says that all the railway officers, they would express great confidence, they would swear and say that there are only 2 levels of the Grand Central Railway Station. But Charlie, he says that he has seen the 3rd level. Actually, he has been to the 3rd level. Now, what does he goes on with his story? He says that as soon as he reaches the 3rd level, he realizes that he is in a different space, he is in a different time. And when he realizes this, when this realization dawns upon him, immediately he wants to visit his dream destination. Now, what is his dream destination? According to the story, it is Galesburg, Illinois. Now, everyone has some kind of imagination in his mind. Now, this man Charlie, he must have heard stories of Galesburg, Illinois from his grandfather. He always longed to be a part of this world where there was only peace, where there was no tension, no wars, no stresses, no worries. And he would always imagine how wonderful such time and such place would be. So now when he reached the 3rd level, he immediately realized that he was in a world before the world wars. So immediately he wanted to buy 2 tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. Now why 2 tickets? One for himself and the other for his wife Louisa. So he went to the ticket counter. He took out money. He found that he had only enough money for one-way 2 tickets. But when he wanted to buy the tickets, he couldn't, because the currency he had in his pocket, it was the modern day, the present currency. And of course, it couldn't be used in the world where he was, the world of 1890s. So unfortunately, he couldn't buy the ticket. So next day, he withdrew all his savings, got them converted into old currency, though it was a great loss for him. He had $300 bills, $300 his saving. He converted it into old style bills, got only $200, but it still didn't bother him. What he wanted was only to visit the world that he had always imagined. He fancied to be a part of that world of 1890s, which he had heard about in stories. Now, loss, it was a great loss. It was a loss of around $100. But then he had heard in stories, he had read in books that at that time things were very inexpensive. It was all very cheap. So, he converted the money he had. He again went looking for the 3rd level, but he could never find it. Now he came and described all this to his wife. His wife was worried. Now, what did he do? He wanted to share his experience with someone. So he had a friend, as I already told you in the beginning, Sam the psychiatrist. Now Sam the psychiatrist, when he came to know the story of Charlie, Sam said that it could never be a reality. Now I would again take you back to class 11, if you remember, The Adventure by Jayant Narlikar. Professor Gaitonde, he had experienced time travel. Do you remember? He travelled into the past. Now it's something like this. Sam also tried to rationalize the experience of Charlie by saying that actually Charlie had only hallucinated. And why had he hallucinated? Because he wanted to run away from reality. He was not happy with his present life. He felt insecure. He wanted to run away from it. He wanted to escape. Modern world, because the modern world has faced wars, there are lots of problems, so there are lots of worries for common people. And Charlie, being a common man, he wanted to escape from it. Sam also tried to rationalize Charlie's experience by saying that actually it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. Now, what is a waking dream wish fulfillment? It is a wish or a dream which takes you away from reality, which makes you happy, which allows you to live in your world of dreams. So it was a waking dream wish fulfillment in the words of Sam. Or in simple words, it's a hallucination. Now, according to the psychiatrist Sam, as I already told you, Charlie, because he was unhappy, he wanted to run away from his real life. Now, when Sam said this, his wife, Charlie's wife, Louisa, she did not like this. She didn't believe that her husband was unhappy. She was of all belief that her husband was happy. There were no problems in their lives. But then, because Sam was a psychiatrist, he tried to convince Charlie, and he explained it to him that the burden of modern problems made him to experience apparent perception which is not actually present. Charlie had no other choice. He had to agree, he had to believe what his psychiatrist friend had to say to him. But even then, he found it very hard to believe that he had imagined the third level of the Grand Central Railway Station, which he had never seen and which never really existed. He had never even dreamt of it. So Charlie agrees with his friend. He begins to believe in the possibility that he had imagined all this because he wanted to escape the harsh realities of modern life. His friends also, they also, agreed with Sam. And they also said that Charlie's hobbies also suggested the same thing. Now here we come to know the personal life of Charlie. Charlie's favorite hobby is a stamp collector, to collect stamps. His friend said that his hobby of stamp collecting is also a refuge from reality. That means his friends meant to say that because he collected stamps, it was a signal, it was a sign that he wanted to escape from the realities of life. But Charlie did not agree with this particular thinking of his friends. He said that his grandfather was also a stamp collector. His hobby was also stamp collecting. He still had the collection which was owned by his grandfather, and in those days the world had not seen any wars. There were no tensions, no worries in the times when his grandfather lived. So could the hobby of stamp collecting be called a running away from reality? There was complete peace, harmony, security, safety in those times. So how could his friends say, how could they say that his hobby of stamp collection was only a refuge from reality? Now, what does Charlie do? He goes on to describe the stamp collection, a valuable store of stamps that he has inherited from his grandfather. He very proudly says that his grandfather had almost all the new issues of all the stamps that were issued in those times. And then he gives the example of President Roosevelt. Charlie says that even President Roosevelt, he had the hobby of stamp collecting. Now, Charlie goes on with the story. He is narrating his experience of third level, what he saw, what he experienced on the third level. He is going on with his experience. He says, he takes us to that world. He says that one day when he was returning from his office, it was somewhat late in the evening, and he was in a hurry to get to his house because his wife Louisa was waiting for him. So in order to hurry, he decided to take a subway to his apartment instead of the usual route, the usual road. And why did he do this? In order to save time. He says that he is an ordinary man of 31 years. He was dressed in tan gabardine suit. He was wearing a straw hat, a fancy band. Now why is he describing this? To prove, to show that he is a normal man. There's nothing wrong with him. He lives in the present. He does not want to run away from the modern realities of life. Everything was ordinary. Everything was normal with him. There were so many other people at the railway station who looked just like him. He was not wanting to escape. He only wanted to reach home early. That's all. So that he could spend time with his wife Louisa at this hour of the day. He still is confused. He doesn't understand why this such extraordinary thing happened with him. Now he comes to the real incident. He says that when he decided to take the subway to the Grand Central, he entered the Grand Central from the Vanderbilt Avenue. Now these are important points. Please note them. They can be asked in the form of short questions also. So he entered the Grand Central Railway Station from the Vanderbilt Avenue. He took the staircase to the first level. The first level means, as we have stories in our house, the first story, the ground floor, the first floor, the second floor. Similarly, it's the first level here. He took the stairs. He entered the subway from the Vanderbilt Avenue. He took the staircase to the first level. Now on the first level of the railway station, Grand Central Railway Station, there are modern day train, which this man Charlie says that where people could board trains like the 20th century. Then he went down to the other floor or to the other level, which is also called the second level here, and this is the level where people boarded the suburban trains. Suburban trains means trains within the city, like we have local trains or metro trains in the modern times. From there he continued to walk. He entered an arched doorway. Now what is an arch? Arch is a semicircular structure which we normally have in buildings, in houses, at the entrance gates. So he took an arched doorway, and this is where he got lost. It was nothing unusual. He did not worry. Why? Because it's a normal experience. He says that Grand Central Railway Station is so big, it's ever expanding, that you can easily get lost. So it was nothing unusual. Because he says that even if a person would come to the Grand Central Railway Station thousands times, he says that even if a person would come to the Grand Central Railway Station 1,000 times, there may be occasions when the same person would find new corridors, new doorways, new entrances, new exits. He describes his own experience. He says that once he entered the wrong lobby, and when he came out, he found himself in the Roosevelt Hotel. On another occasion, he found himself in an office building that was 3 blocks away from the Grand Central Railway Station. So this is his experience. He says that it was nothing abnormal, it was nothing extraordinary if he had got lost that day. Now again it's the same description. He says that Grand Central Railway Station, it was expanding at a very fast speed, just like a tree with roots. You can see the tree growing, the trees parts that are there in front of us, the leaves, the trunk, the branches, we can see it growing. But what about the roots? They are growing under the ground in all directions. They are spreading everywhere, and we cannot say with certainty in which directions the roots are spreading. He describes the expansion of Grand Central Railway Station to the expansion of the roots of a tree. It's a simile. So it's no big deal. He says that it's no big deal that the time when he is talking, there would be a secret tunnel under the city to the Times Square or to the Central Park from the railway station. He feels that Grand Central is a place of exit for innumerable people. Thousands and thousands of people travel through Grand Central Railway Station every day, and every day they have new experiences. Now, the unusual corridor where he got lost. It began angling left. Angling means turning towards the left. Then it slanted downward. Here he felt a bit odd. But then also he kept on walking. There was no one else. He seemed to be alone. So alone that his own feet, they echoed. When he was walking, his own feet echoed. Finally, he continued to walk, and he felt relaxed when he heard sound of people talking from a distance. Then he took a left turn. Again he found a staircase, and then he reached the 3rd level of the Grand Central Railway Station. He thought that somehow he had found an exit and he must have reached the 2nd level again, but he found the scene quite different. Now please note what are the differences, what are the things that make him believe, what are his observations that make Charlie believe that he is not on the 2nd level or he is not on the 1st level. Why does he say that he was on the 3rd level? The points that have been emphasized here. He suddenly noticed the place where he had reached, which he calls the 3rd level of the Grand Central. It was a room that was smaller, comparatively smaller. The number of ticket windows were fewer than usual. The number of train gates were also fewer. The information booth, which we call the inquiry counter on the railway station, the information booth in the center was made up of wood, and it was old-fashioned. It looked old. The man who was sitting in that information booth, he also looked different. That room of the station, it was dimly lighted. The lights were not enough. And what he says specially about the lights, please note, they were open flame gas lights. They were not electricity lights. These lights were gas lights. Now this can be an important question. Please note down these points and note them down in your copy. What observations made Charlie believe that he was not on the 2nd level or the 1st level? What made him believe that he was on the 3rd level? What made him believe that he was in a world of the old times? The same idea continues, his experiences, his observations. What else he could see there? He says that he could see brass spittoons everywhere. All of us know what is brass. Brass is a metal. Nowadays, we normally don't use brass. We use steel, iron and steel. Spittoons, what are spittoons? Spittoons are containers or jars which are kept on roadsides, on streets, where people can spit into. So he could see spittoons that were made up of brass. And then suddenly a glimpse of light caught his eye. Something attracted his attention. And what was this something that attracted his attention? There was a man who pulled his gold watch from his vest. Now, normally in modern times, if you have people who are wearing watches, they'll have it on their wrist. It's a wristwatch. Now, because he has entered a world of old times, the world of 1890s, this man had a golden watch, and that too he had kept it in his vest pocket. Now, this man, he was dressed in an old-fashioned style. Suddenly, Charlie noticed that everyone on this level, in this room of the railway station, he was dressed like the 19th century. It was basically the time before the world wars. So many people had beards, fancy mustaches, and the protagonist had never seen these things before in modern life. So it was a different experience for him. And he had read this, he had heard about this in the stories that belonged to the time of 1890s. So he was almost sure that he was in the 1890s. Now, he goes on to describe his experience. He says that he even saw a small engine, locomotive. Now, I'll tell you which page it is. It's page number 4 of the chapter. The second paragraph. The narrator Charlie says that he even saw a small Courier and Ives locomotive, which confirmed his belief which time he was in. Now, what is a locomotive? Locomotive is an engine which powers the train. So, Courier and Ives locomotives, they were used in the world of 1890s or in the 19th century. So, it confirmed his belief that he was in the world of 1890s. He was not in the present, he was traveling in the past. Now, to validate himself, to make himself sure, he went to a boy who was selling newspapers. Till now, he was doubtful whether it was his imagination, whether his mind was playing a trick with him. So, there was a boy who was selling newspapers on that level of the railway station. He went to the newspaper boy and he had some copies of the newspaper The World. Now, Charlie says that this newspaper had been discontinued years ago. That means it was no longer published in the present. It was published in the old times, actually in the times of 1890s. And this newspaper had headlines about the president at that time, President Cleveland. These are the things that make him believe that he is in 1890s. The date on the front page of the newspaper was June 11, 1894. Now, this was a proof, an evidence that Charlie was actually traveling in the world of 1890s. He was now sure that he was not imagining, he was really in the world of 1890s. He was extremely happy. This was the world which he had always dreamt of. This was the world which he imagined would have been wonderful, how peaceful life would have been at that time. So immediately he went to the ticket window to get 2 tickets for Galesburg, Illinois, his dream destination, one for himself, other for his wife. Now, Illinois, he describes this town. It was a wonderful town. He had heard about it. He had maybe read in the books about it. It was a wonderful town. There were lots of greenery there. And he was aware that from this level of the Grand Central Railway Station, he could buy tickets that would take them anywhere in United States. He describes how things were in 1894 before the 2 world wars took place. There is something wrong here. It should be 1894, before the 2 world wars took place. He says that in the world of 1890s, the evenings were twice as long as they are now. Now, how can evenings be long? Evenings are always the same. The days of 24 hours. So, how can evenings be long? Evenings seem to be long because people have lot of time. Now, people are rushing here and there. People don't have time. Therefore, evenings seem to be short. Men and women lived in peace and harmony at that time. Now, he went to the ticket window where the clerk was there. Clerk means the person who is in charge of the ticket window. He calculated the fare. All the time, this clerk, he was wondering at the kind of dress Charlie was wearing, because on that level of the railway station, everyone was dressed in the attire of 1890s. Only Charlie was dressed in modern times. Charlie just had enough money for one side journey. He took out the money, and when he presented the money to the ticket administrator, the ticket counter clerk, he said that this money was not acceptable, it was not legal tender, and if Charlie wanted to act smart, he would be in the jail. He would not be able to get away by fooling the man. Now Charlie immediately looked into the drawer of the ticket counter, and he saw that the currency that was in the drawer, it was much bigger, almost double the size of the modern day currency. He ran out. Immediately he realized that his currency would not, it was not usable there. He could not use it. He could not purchase the tickets. So in order to escape from going to jail, he knew he would be in trouble. So what did he do? He ran away from there. After that day, the day ended. He came out. The next day, what did he do? He went to a broker who deals with old currencies, etc. First of all, he withdrew all his savings from the bank or the post office, wherever he had his money, and then he went to the broker. He got converted all his money by paying some amount of premium. Now, what do you mean by premium? Now, if you want to buy something, you have to pay a cost. So, because he is getting new currency converted to old, he has to pay a commission or a premium. It cost him much. Now, this premium cost him much. It cost him, as I have already told you in the beginning, it cost him almost $100. He had $300 in new currency, and when he got it converted into old currency, he got only $200 back. And now when he informed this to his psychiatrist friend Sam was really worried. But still he went with it, because he believed that he was preparing himself to go into the world of 1890s, where things were very inexpensive. The cost of eggs at that time, he had heard, it was only 13 cents a dozen, so he wouldn't require much money to survive in those times. So he was happy even if it meant a loss for him. But unfortunately, though he had made preparations, he could never find the way to the third level corridor again, despite many efforts. His wife Louisa got very much worried when she got to know about it all. She was slowly realizing that her husband was running behind something which is not real. So she asked him to better stay away from all these things. So after a while, he forgot about this third level of the railway station. He came back to his normal life, and he started finding distraction with the help of his stamp collection hobby. He got himself busy in the stamp collection. Somehow, Sam the psychiatrist disappeared. After some time, Sam the psychiatrist disappeared, and this surprised Charlie. Charlie suspected that he had gone to Galesburg. Now, one day, as I already told you, that Charlie forgot about the third level, and he got busy with his stamp collection thing. He would go through the stamp collection that his grandfather had. He also had. Every day he would look at it with great, excitement. He would pass his time somehow. Now one night when he was going through his stamp collection, he came across a first day cover. Now students, you will wonder what is a first day cover. Those who are those who are fond of collecting stamps, they would know it, but for many of us it's a new term, first day cover. Now all of us know what are stamps. Stamps are tickets which we put on envelopes or letters, and it's a requirement, it's a must for posting a letter. Now the governments of the countries, they keep on issuing new stamps. Now people who are stamp collectors, people who are fond of collecting stamps, they want literally every new issue of the stamp in their collection. They do not want to miss even a single stamp that is issued in their country. So what do? If for example a stamp is issued today, now I am a stamp collector and I want it. So what do? If I go to the post office and buy it and keep it in my collection, it's of no use. It's of no use. Anyone can do this. So what do? I take an envelope, I affix the stamp on it, and I mail that envelope with an empty paper inside it to myself. So what do stamp collectors do? The day the new stamp is issued in the market by a government, the person who's fond of stamp collecting, he buys that stamp, affixes it on an envelope, and addresses that envelope to himself, keeps an empty paper inside it, seals the envelope, and posts the envelope to himself. Now when that envelope goes to the post office, what happens? There is a seal, a stamp, post office stamp on it, which also shows the date. And this, the first day of sale mark on the envelope, it's known as the first day cover. It contains nothing inside. It's just a valuable treasure for the stamp collectors. Now here we come across a term, that is philately. What is philately? Philately, it's not just stamp collection. It's a broad term. It's a vast term. It includes study of stamps, study of postal history, and other related items. It refers to collection, appreciation, research activities on stamps and other philatelic products. It is possible to be a philatelist without owning any stamps. When a new stamp is issued on the first day, I have already told you, people mail a blank paper to themselves, then retain that unopened letter with the date on the postmark. Charlie has inherited this hobby from his grandfather, and he is also a proud stamp collector. So one day when he was browsing through his favorite stamp collection, surprisingly he found an old first day cover that belonged to his grandfather. He had never seen it before, so he was surprised to see it. Someone had mailed it to his father at his home at Galesburg, as he could see from the address on the envelope, and the postmark on that envelope showed that this first day cover had been there in the stamp collection of the grandfather since July 18, 1894. And this stamp had a picture of President Garfield on it. It was a 6-cent stamp. It was dull brown color, and the grandfather had kept this envelope in his stamp collection, and Charlie had seen this for the first time. He had discovered it. Discovered means he had seen it for the first time. It had been there always since July 18, 1894. The envelope had paper inside it, but the paper was not empty. As I told you, first day covers are usually empty. They contain nothing because they are mailed to oneself, to oneself. But this paper was unusually not empty. There was something written on it. Now what was written on it? It's given on page number, I'll tell you. It's given on page number 6 of the chapter. It's a letter. The address is 941 Willard Street, Galesburg, Illinois, July 18, 1894, Charlie. So it has been addressed to Charlie. I got to wishing that you were right. Then I got to believing that you were right. And Charlie, it's true. I have found the third level. I have been here 2 weeks, and right now, the street at the dailies, someone is playing a piano, and they are all out on the front porch singing, Seeing Nellie Home. And I am invited over for a lemonade. Come on back, Charlie and Louisa. Keep looking till you find the third level. It's worth it, believe me. So, it's a letter that has been addressed to Charlie, and it dates back to 1894. Now, what does it tell us about Charlie? It's all Charlie's imagination. Charlie is not seeing this letter in reality. It's his imagination. He imagines that he finds a first day cover which contains a letter like this. It is addressed to Charlie, and who has written this letter? It has been signed by Sam. What does Sam say in this letter? The letter had been signed off as Sam. That means who was the writer? It was Sam. Sam, the psychiatrist friend of Charlie. What had he written in this letter? That he always wanted to believe that Charlie's story was true. So what does it suggest about Sam? That Sam also wanted to live in the world of 1890s. He also wanted to run away from the stresses, the worries of modern life. He was the psychiatrist. He was trying to convince Charlie that Charlie shouldn't try to run away like this. Rather, he should learn to live with modern life, learn to adjust, learn to compromise. And now, what does this letter suggest? That he also wanted to believe in the idea of the third level. And now he had actually found it. And he encourages Charlie and Louisa not to stop looking for it. And he wished that Charlie and Louisa would soon find the third level. After this, Charlie found out from the coin store that he used to visit that Sam had also exchanged his new currency worth $800 with the old currency. Now, he had kept this savings. He wanted to utilize in a hay, feed and grain business. Now, what is hay, feed and grain business? It's a business which deals with fodder for cattle. So, if people have cattle, if people keep animals, naturally they have to feed these animals. And where would you buy food for these animals? From a hay, feed and grain business. The dry grass, etc., whatever is used to feed the cattle and other animals that are domesticated, that's known as hay, feed and grain business. So, what did this man Sam change the currency for? He wanted to utilize this currency to invest in hay, feed and grain business. That was his dream business. He had always wished to do it. And now Charlie wondered that this man, Sam, he could not go back to his old business in Galesburg, Illinois. Would he go to Illinois merely to do his old dream business? And the story ends at a mysterious note where Charlie is wondering that Sam is a psychiatrist. Sam, the psychiatrist, who had been counseling people on worries and stresses and fears, telling them ways out on how to deal with all these tensions of life, he himself has escaped. Now I have got some questions for you. There are some short answer type questions. After reading the chapter thoroughly, after going through the presentation that I have demonstrated here, you can try to answer these questions. The first question is, what according to the psychiatrist was Charlie's problem? So in short, the answer would be, he wanted to run away from the reality of modern life. He felt insecure. What did the psychiatrist think about Charlie's stamp collection? Why didn't Charlie agree with him? How does Charlie describe himself? Why does Charlie feel that Grand Central is growing like a tree? I have explained all this in very detail. What idea did Charlie have about the tunnel, and why didn't he tell the psychiatrist about it? How did he make sure that he was actually traveling in the past? Describe Galesburg as it has been experienced by Charlie. Describe the Galesburg of 1894. What preparations did Charlie make to go to Galesburg after coming out from the third level of the railway station, Grand Central Railway Station? In what context does Charlie say that eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894? Why did Charlie's wife Louisa believe that third level was a reality? What is a first day cover? What do you mean by philately? Who had sent the first day cover to whom? What was written on it? How did Charlie happen to reach the third level of the Grand Central Railway Station, New York? So these are some questions which you should answer to test your understanding, to test whether you have got the chapter, you have grasped the chapter or not. I have also got some long answer type questions for you. Thank you. Read the chapter and go through it. Thank you.